You're here. Your friend and humble narrator, and I'm here doing another debate review. But I'm joined by Snake Was Right, Taylor, and he's going to be commenting on his own debate with Kent. So, Snake, why don't you just take a second to introduce yourself to any of my viewers who might not know who you are, and give a little bit of background about like your education and like your history of debating with Kent, I guess.
All right, yeah. I run a channel called Snake Was Right. Um, I'm the greatest debater of all time. No, um, yeah, I majored in molecular cellular developmental biology. So I got into YouTube because I like science. I saw basic science getting wrong in politics and media and stuff and religion. So I pretty much fell into the creationism niche
Mm-hmm.
and yeah. And I've had several debates with Kent Hovind
Yeah.
before.
How many have you had? You've had a lot.
Donnie said it's last night. Was it last night? I lose track of time so easily.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It was.
he said it was 10.
Wow. Wow.
So yeah, but before I've tried to do, you know, evidence for evolution,
Mm-hmm.
Kent doesn't get this, and he always defaults to the same thing. You've never seen a
Yeah.
dog give birth to a non-dog. So this one, I wanted to do the tact of just can you do science on things that you can't directly witness?
Yeah. Yeah. You're really direct in this debate, which I loved. I loved.
Oh yeah, it was
I mean,
gloves off too this time. I'm kind of
yes.
sick of him,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
I feel
See, like,
guilty. I feel guilty even talking to him because he's such a shyster and a wife beater, and you know.
like
So
I will just I'm willing to take a little bit of credit for this because I feel like maybe I'm wrong, but since I did my third like impromptu debate with Kent where I just sort of went off and just told him he was a liar a bunch of times, I've been noticing more people sort of engaging Kent like that. Like Mark Reed, his debate, like I think 2 days ago, he did something similar where he just sort of called Kent out directly. And then it was funny because I don't know if you know Big Bad Mama, but Big Bad Mama
hmm
sent me the link to your debate when it was live. And I clicked on it. And as soon as the video loads, I just hear you telling Kent, "You're a liar, Kent. You're a liar. Stop lying." And I was like, yes.
yeah, I think
That's
we're all realizing you just can't get anywhere with him because he'll say
yeah,
this. You'll correct him. He'll accept the correction, sort of, and then he'll just say the same thing again the next debate.
exactly. All right. Well,
So
let's get into it.
Gentlemen, Snake and Dr. Dino, that concludes the opening statements for this debate. To the audience, I am all caught up on questions. So please continue sending in your questions and making sure to tag me. Also telling me who the question is for. Okay, Kent just ended with his opening statement. So Taylor,
and pause it
let's
for a
hand it
sec.
over to you and give you the opportunity.
Pause it. Um, just to give everyone a quick rundown of the openings. Kent's is always the same. It's garbage, and you you really if you've heard it once, you've heard it a million times. But basically, what I did was run over what comparative anatomy is that creationists use it, and that there's no reasonable point in comparing any life where we should stop using it. And that was basically where I ended my opener. And related it to the fact that science can be done on events that we haven't directly witnessed. So yeah, then we pick it up in the discussion. I can't hear you. Are you muted?
My bad. Sorry about that. Yeah, I just said that you basically have to repeat a lot of what you said in the opening anyway because Kent doesn't address it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, all right.
That's another thing is I started trying to do shorter intros, especially with Kent, because he just doesn't address anything. It doesn't matter what you say.
I know.
It's
All right.
but the audience does listen. So
Yeah,
sometimes.
true that.
To pick the first topic or pick the first point for us to engage. Go ahead.
So, my opening was about how creationists use comparative anatomy and how they arbitrarily decide where and when to stop using it. So, Kent mentioned mustard plants. These are all the different morphologies created from wild mustard. It's not just a bigger flower, it's very different. And even this, we get highly ordered systems without any intelligent design. So the question is, and I showed a bunch of creationist research in the beginning too, where they said that hybridization was also part of how you tell things are related. So all the plants I just showed you can hybridize. So they have completely different morphologies based on modifying an original common morphology. So my question is, where do we stop applying comparative anatomy?
Well, comparative anatomy of different creatures, finding similarities, like I've got 2 bones in my wrist and the whale has 2 bones in his flipper, that would not prove common ancestry. I don't know. You guys cannot.
But why are you going from human to whale? Why not human to something that's more similar to a human?
Even things that are similar doesn't prove a relationship. Humans and cats both have 2 bones in the forelimb. It might prove a common designer because that's a good design that works. There's a lot of cars and trucks that have an A-frame on the front so the wheel can bounce up and down while you're turning at the same time. That's a good design. It works good. Doesn't prove that's not related. You keep using that word related. That's not science. You believe they're related. You don't know that. It's a good design. It's in a court of law, in an honest court of law, both sides, creation and evolution, would have to admit we believe it was designed this way. You believe it evolved that way. You don't observe You don't observe a cat turning into a human and get the same arm bones. We observe humans make babies all the time, and they come out as human. We observe cats make babies.
No one thinks cats evolved into humans. And evolution has beaten creation in court dozens of times.
I never said, Taylor, don't put words in my mouth. I never said they did.
Yes, you absolutely did say that, if not implied it, Kent. This is why I was so annoyed the last time I debated Kent, because I went in with one simple question. I just asked him, when you say we only observe dogs produce non-dogs, are you saying or implying that evolution teaches that a dog will give birth to something that is not a dog? Or that evolution teaches that animals will give birth to something that's not the same species? And he was like, no. He flat out said, that's not what I'm saying. And it's like, yeah, you are. That's obviously the implication. How is it not the implication of what you're saying?
Well, he throws these things out that he knows will get corrected, but it's literally just a time waster.
Well, he's a coward.
It's so he can avoid talking about it.
He wants to avoid being held accountable for the claims he makes because he can't back them up.
You believe cats and humans are related
You
to a
did.
common ancestor? No, I did not.
You said cat turning into a human.
Listen to me. Do you believe cats and humans have a common ancestor?
Yes, that's different from a cat turning into a human.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, exactly right. Thank you, Taylor, for saying that. God, Kent, fuck you.
Whatever that ancestor was, did it turn into a cat and a human, the common ancestor? You believe?
That's not what common ancestry means, dude. A common ancestor between a cat and a human does not mean like an anamorph where it's like a cat. It's not like a cat girl that existed.
Yeah, he always frames it as huge, broad swaths of change happen in an instant.
In one generation.
He won't engage in generational change over time.
Yeah, and I love how you called him out on why did you immediately go to a whale and a human? Why do you always compare things that are way different? And the answer is because he's intentionally trying to make evolution seem ridiculous to his audience of slack-jawed yokels.
And to waste time, so that he can't actually engage in the real discussion.
Yeah, he's already gish galloping. So
Oh, he does that a lot.
So are all cats? Did they have a common ancestor?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, so
it's not science. When if you, I'm assuming you're going to debate Kent again, and this is a great question. And I asked Kent something similar when I debated him. Because he brought up there's so many varieties of strawberries or whatever, and I said, okay, did all those strawberries have a common ancestor? And he said, I don't know. And so my reply was, so you don't know, so that means it's not science, right? And I even asked him, do you think all humans had a common ancestor? And he said, I don't know. I'm only 70 years old, so I haven't had time to study humans in the lab for like millions of years. And it's like, Ken, you've claimed before, you have made the claim that humans have common ancestry going back to Adam or going back to Noah's Ark. So this is a total lie. You know what I mean? But I just love holding Kent to his own standard. Sorry, go ahead.
Like sometimes it's hard to tell if he's faking dumb or just plain dumb. This is an instance where he is deliberately being dishonest, because he does believe that there are common ancestries for the biblical kinds.
Right.
And he would not admit that, because he says it other ways, and he wouldn't admit it because he knows that if he admits that, then my whole point is justified. So he can't admit it. He's just playing dumb. I don't know if all humans are related, even though I believe that.
Yeah, exactly.
Why don't you know?
There's a lot of things I don't know. I don't know the square root of
that's very clear.
Well played.
So how do you know why so many creationists and organizations publish material on trying to figure out what animals were on the ark?
I'm not part of any other creationist organization. Are you?
I didn't ask that. Do you know why they do that?
Well, they can study whatever they'd like. I don't care what people study.
I'm asking if you know why.
No,
I don't understand. Like, what you're asking is effectively like a rhetorical question. But Kent cannot just say, no, why don't you tell me? Like, that's what you're setting up here, basically. Like, or, maybe he would have had an answer, but he like literally cannot like say, I don't know. He can't admit that he doesn't know this. You know what I mean? It's weird. Even though he just said there's lots of things I don't know. And then you ask him this question and he's so like slippery. He can't even honestly answer this incredibly like simple, like non-invasive question. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it is a rhetorical question.
Right.
It would be nice if he would answer, but yeah, he can't even just be like, I don't know, why don't you tell me? Which would be a fine response, because I'm going to tell him.
Like, clearly that's how you're setting it up. And we have Paula G in the live chat. Wow. Big timer.
Hey.
Hello. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Paul, for waving hi. I'm so honored. I'm honored that you would come to my live chat.
He is truly one of the greats.
What does this have to do with the debate tonight?
No, I don't know. So you don't know why. Okay, that's because you believe in the Bible and the ark story. You believe that there were a certain number of animals on the ark. There's millions of species, so we have to be able to fit enough species on the ark. So some of them have to be related. That's why I'm asking that question.
Well, the topic of the debate tonight is not could Noah fit all the animals on the ark. It's does biology support evolution?
And what I'm doing is showing you that you need to be able to have thousands of these species be related for your biblical story to be true, and you're just obscuring that because my evidence is that comparative anatomy works, creationists use it, but they can't tell me where it stops working. And the theory of evolution predicts fossils based on having common ancestry, which means that there doesn't seem to be the limit that you think is on comparative anatomy.
Well, I don't think you're going to find a fossil that would work as evidence for anything in a court of law. As I said many times, all you could prove is it died. You don't know it had any.
I can cite dozens of court cases where it does.
So you could find a fossil, and from those bones, you could prove this one had children that were different than itself.
I can prove that it is a child.
Can you prove that the fossil...
It had parents.
So, really quickly, to Paula Gia, I wanted to say that I've been meaning to ask you in a rhetorical question. Did you know that the after show video we did for Dinosaur Scandal Land 2023 on my channel has now reached 10,000 views? So that's just awesome. Just wanted to say that. But yeah, I messaged you about this, and I need to find the link. But I found an article talking about how, maybe it was a paper, how there are fossils where you can see, like, they're not scratch marks, but they're like indentations and markings within the pelvis and hip bones of certain animals that shows that they were pregnant and did give birth. So there are ways to tell that a fossil had children. Not that you have to, but there are ways. You know what I mean?
I can definitely see Kent saying, how do you know they weren't created like that?
See, you got me. You got me. They were created with fucking scratch marks on the inside of their pelvis. Okay.
Yeah.
They were created with ERVs and viruses for some reason inserted. They were created with their second chromosome fused for some reason. Humans were created to look like they were almost identical genetically to chimpanzees. Some reason.
Here's the double standard: is he can just assert that God had a good reason for it and have no evidence for it, and that's fine. But if we have even the slightest gap in scientific knowledge, then you got to throw it all out.
Exactly. And the way that becomes sort of like immoral is that they can make that same argument for any type of atrocity that God commits. So when
anything
in 1 Samuel 15, where God orders the Amalekites to be slaughtered, even the men, women, and children, including suckling babies that are breastfeeding on their mother, and the livestock, you know, they can say, well, God had a good reason for that. Kent will say, oh, well, they had lots of diseases because they were having contact with feces, because only gay people have anal sex, according to Kent Hovind.
Mm-hmm.
And condoms don't exist.
Yeah.
And then when God gets pissed off that the guy wasn't genocidal enough and that he wanted to save some of the livestock for himself and didn't kill the king, he had a good reason for that. You know what I mean? Hovind.
Yeah, some unknown good reason that we don't need to know because we just have faith.
Yeah. Well,
Kent
will watch the video when he gets to heaven.
Yeah. Magic and God excuses everything and explains anything, so it's useless.
Exactly. There's a good quote from Thunderfoot when he did a debate with Eric Hovind, sort of impromptu debate at Reason Rally. Sorry, I forgot how to speak English for a second. And he said that a God has perfect explanatory power, but it has zero predictive power.
Mm-hmm.
So it can explain anything. But and this is sort of what you get into in the debate, is that what can you predict with your creationism? Nothing.
Yeah, I like the phrase, it can accommodate, but it can't predict.
Mm-hmm.
Or discover.
You think parents are...
Oh, sorry. Did you say something?
Or discover anything.
True that.
Similar to the child, right?
You are muddying the water purposely here. The family tree goes from parent to child. You cannot prove that fossil had any children, can you?
I don't need to. It is a child, so it had parents that were similar to it.
Bingo.
We have the child. You're saying I can't prove it on the child, but we have the child.
Okay.
We also have fossils that are in the process of giving.
I just like how intense Ken Hovind is when he like leans into the camera and like stares the camera down. He's like, so you can't prove that the fossil had children or like it didn't have children, didn't it? Or it's like, you believe in a rock, don't you? He's just like so intense. You know what I mean? It's like, geez, Ken, like you're scaring me. Hovind.
Yeah, and you can tell when you start getting under his skin too.
Yeah.
He starts moving around, and
Starts changing colors.
yeah.
Color changing Hovind.
Giving birth or having
want-
eggs. So yes, we can.
You want that.
Chameleon.
After that.
You want to say because this child had parents, you don't know that the parents were different than the child either. Okay. You don't.
Every single every single parent of humans or any species that gives birth, their children are not going to be an exact genetic clone of them. So
Even-
by definition, they're different.
Even animals that reproduce through parthenogenesis, which
Like
is
the
cloning themselves,
salamanders. Yeah, like salamanders.
their child is still gonna have mutations.
So they're still slightly different, even those
Mhm.
clones.
Even identical twins.
I didn't know that.
Even identical twins are different from each other,
So
and they start from the same exact genetic
okay.
template.
But there are still mutations later on down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was like a little confused. I was like, how does that happen? Wow, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we have a super chat from Coral Reef. I love that username. It says, if I ever meet Kent, I'll be slipping the C word. I'll be slipping the C word. LOL. Sea World. Shamu Hovind. Don't stay out of the splash zone. All right.
know that
Parents
any
are
bones
different
you
from
found-
all children.
Okay. You don't know that any bones you found in the dirt are related to any other particular bones you find in the dirt. You can imagine.
Fossils are not bones in the dirt. Fossils are permineralized concretions found within a matrix of rock, Kent. You jerk.
And as if he believes that they were all separately created.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Like he's basically saying you don't know that God didn't just create each fossil, like that was the original one.
Mhm. Yeah. And there was a time when some creationists even said that like Satan put fossils there to fool us and trick us. He put them in a certain order. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Imagine that. But
Creationism
you
has
don't know they had
evolved.
any children, and you're
Indeed it has.
deliberately muddying the water and avoiding the question because you're wrong.
Why would we assume that members of the same species are not related to it?
Why do you
to
use
each
the word
other?
related again? Okay. Related. Members are all
Because
the
we're
dogs
talking
and
about-
wolves related?
Because we're talking about common ancestry. That's
Okay.
why.
If you want to switch the topic of the debate to Noah's Ark, we certainly can. There's a website called baraminology.com. They do studies on this and say the baramin is biblical kind. They think they were
Right.
probably
I asked you why they do that. And they use comparative anatomy. So I'm asking you,
I'm trying
where's
to
the limit
answer.
on that?
Donnie, shut off his mic when I'm answering because he keeps interrupting. Okay.
Go
Now,
ahead, Ken.
I think the 8,000 kinds of animals coming off the ark, developing into the thousands of species, which you mentioned, I don't mention species, is possible. But you believe all the varieties of animals, all the millions of species, came from a rock.
Who's changing the topic now, Kent?
Mm-hmm.
Seriously. Like, this is bare hypocrisy. And Kent has been saying this so often lately. Like, like he says, they shut the other person's mic off when it's my turn to talk. And then when it's their turn to talk, they can shut my mic off. Kent, that's the intros. That's the opening statements.
Mm-hmm.
You don't
Well,
mute
and
people's mics during the rest of the debate.
If I don't interrupt him, he'll just go on forever.
Seriously. Like, he forces you to do it, and it's like it puts you in this awkward position where it's like, on the one hand, he will literally gish gallop endlessly, but
Yeah, I should have.
You're forced to.
I should have. Whenever I interrupted him, just said one topic at a time, Kent.
That's what I did in my debate.
Yep.
It works nicely. I think you
Yeah.
do that at some point. Maybe I'm thinking of the Mark
Probably.
Reed debate, but okay, I'm gonna hit play and I'm gonna be right back. I'm just gonna get my drink refilled.
Go ahead.
Nope. That's what you believe.
I showed you right from your Nature magazine and everything else, a hot ball of rock. Was the Earth a hot ball of rock that cooled down and developed in a hard rocky crust, and life got started from the rock? Do you believe
Yeah,
that?
there's other chemicals other than rocks. So you mentioned the limit being cows jumping over. Well, you've mentioned in other debates cows jumping over the moon, dogs the size of Texas, but you didn't mention any limits that would prevent any of the fossils that I showed being related, even though we know those changes can occur because we observe them today.
I'll say it again. Maybe you'll get it this time. You do not know any fossil had children, do you?
Yes, we do.
You do?
That's a lie.
Please
You yourself have shown fossils giving birth.
Were they coming out of the mother as the same kind? I mean, were the fish producing fish, or were the fish producing birds?
Mm-hmm. They're producing. You're lying. You think that you're lying about evolution right now. And I love your audience laughing at your lies. There is no point in evolution where a fish gave birth to a bird. So why do you repeat those lies?
Listen, focus, Daniel-san. Did the fish fossil that they found giving birth, was it giving birth to another fish of the similar kind?
Yes, and they're slightly different.
Why don't you get it?
Yeah.
But you think if they did that for millions of generations, it would turn to something other than they showed the family trees.
Yes.
They've got the fish related to the pine trees.
Populations change over generations.
Where's the evidence for this? That's not science.
We see that today. We see that today. Stop lying.
I'm not lying. Stop calling me a liar. Now the changes.
You are a liar. That's what you do.
I'm calling you stupid. Okay, how do you like being called stupid? Now listen. The it fits perfectly. Wear that shoe. Okay. The changes that we see are limited.
Oh, I came back at the perfect time. Good.
You might want to go back and replay because you missed a good part where I told him. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm happy to do that. Okay. Is
this and say the baramin is
that too far or no?
Biblical kind.
I think that's good.
I thought that's perfect. Actually, that's exactly where
I asked you why they do that, and they use comparative anatomy. So I'm asking you, where's the limit on that?
Donnie, shut off his mic when I'm answering because he keeps interrupting. Okay.
Go ahead, Ken.
I think that 8,000 kinds of animals coming off the ark, developing into the thousands of species, which you mentioned, I don't mention species, is possible. But you believe all the varieties of animals, all the millions of species came from a rock, don't you? Go ahead.
Nope. That's what you believe.
I showed you right from your Nature magazine and everything else, a hot ball of rock. Was the Earth a hot ball of rock that cooled down and developed in a hard rocky crust, and life got started from the rock? Do you believe that?
Yeah, there's other chemicals other than rocks. So you mentioned the limit being cows jumping over. Well, you've mentioned in other debates cows jumping over the moon, dogs the size of Texas, but you didn't mention any limits that would prevent any of the fossils that I showed being related, even though we know those changes can occur because we observe them today.
I'll say it again. Maybe you'll get it this time. You do not know any fossil had children, do you?
Yes, we do.
You do?
That's a lie. You yourself have shown fossils giving birth.
Were they coming out of the mother as the same kind? I mean, were the fish producing fish, or were the fish producing birds?
Mm-hmm.
That is, first off, kind is a bullshit term, but that is moving the goalposts, Kent. Moving the goalposts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Great response, though, right there. Really, that's being quick on your feet. So kudos for that. And really quickly, I just want to say that Big Bad Mama sent a super chat for $2, and it says, "Interrupted writing a song about Kent to be here." Oh, I love that.
We've both written songs about Kent.
Oh, yes. We did a rap battle about Kent Hovind.
Yeah.
I've written plenty of songs about Kent, you know?
Yeah, you've written a lot.
And from Wayne Langley for 99 ZAR, which is $5 USD. Donnie, sit. Now roll over, good boy. Yeah. It's more like, Donnie, come here, boy, come save me. Like, he literally jumps in as soon as he has like a spider sense for when Kent is in trouble during a debate. He jumps in. You know what I mean? It just shows he's biased. It clearly shows a bias. It's not him jumping in because there's over talking or because, Snake is, not getting his time, equal time, or that, it's always when Kent is getting refuted badly, he jumps in.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I'll respond to a point he makes mid his next point, and apparently that's too far.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're producing. You're lying. You
I'm sorry. We're rewatching The Big Bang Theory. Is there a
Yep.
fucking laugh track? Is Kent Hovind is filmed live in front of a studio audience of of idiots? Sorry, I almost slipped again. Like, how many people are in this audience? See, Kent, you're gonna make me say things I'm not supposed to say. Jeez. Like, what is funny about that? Like,
Well, they think
I think it's funny, but
I was mid-answer, and then I said, "You're lying." So they probably thought I was floundering, but I think I explained sufficiently what he's lying about in the coming sentence.
yeah.
think that you're lying about evolution right now, and I love your audience laughing at your lies. There is no point in evolution where a fish gave birth to a bird. So why do you repeat those lies?
Listen, focus, Daniel-san.
The-
Did the fish fossil that they found giving birth, was it giving birth to another fish of the similar kind?
Yes, and they're slightly
There you go.
different.
Why don't you get it?
Yeah.
But you think if they did that for millions of generations, it would turn to something other than they showed the family trees.
Yes.
They've got the fish related to the pine trees.
Populations change over generations.
Where's the evidence for this? That's not science.
We see
You
that
believe that?
today. We see that today. Stop lying.
Yes. This is what I want to see. If for the next person who debates Ken Hovind, if you don't do this exact thing, I'm going to be very disappointed. Like, call him out.
No mercy. I have no courtesy for this
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. I mean, after 10 debates with him, and you have clearly gone out of your way to try and show Kent intellectual honesty and be more polite to him than he deserves or that he has been to you, clearly. And really, he's done nothing but sort of disrespect you. So, like, why not just fucking call him a liar? I mean, he disrespected the shit out of me in my second debate against him right from the start of the debate.
Well, and I'm not just doing it because he's disagreeing with me. I'm doing it because
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
literally been caught saying something that's provably untrue and that he knows is untrue.
Yeah, and I just think it's interesting if you follow. It's hard to follow because of how fast it is, but if you follow how many goalpost shifts there are just in the past few seconds, we go from him saying you don't know that a fossil had children, to you saying you've presented fossils of fish giving birth, which clearly shows a fossil that had children, whether or not that child lived. And then he says that fish that was giving birth, was it giving birth to something that was the same kind? Okay, that is totally a different topic. What happened to us talking about whether or not you can prove that a fossil had children? So you just exposed that he is accusing you of something where he's saying you can't show that a fossil had children, and you're like, Kent, you've presented evidence that has happened. So how are you accusing me of this? And then instead of him addressing the fact that he's a fucking liar, he says, well, did that fish that gave birth, which is him admitting that you can show that a fossil had children, did that fish give birth to something that was the same kind? Which is a total shift of the goalposts. And then, I mean, you basically say yes, even though we don't know what the hell a kind is, but you could just say it's the same species, which it would be. And, it's like I've lost track of how many times he moves the goalposts. This is why I say Kent, like, he doesn't move the goalposts. The goalposts are attached to a Segway that Kent controls with a remote control that just moves at will. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when he's caught, he'll just move on. But and
Mhm.
all the little digs he gives too, like he acts like I'm out of line for saying little things like, yeah, it's clear you don't know what you're talking about, when he just says, he does crap like that in every debate to everyone.
Yeah, he says, "Stop calling me a liar." It's like, can't you call scientists liars constantly?
I'm not lying. Stop calling me a liar. Now, the changes
you
that
are
we
a
see,
liar. That's
okay,
what
I'm
you do.
calling you stupid. Okay, how do you like being called stupid? Now listen, the
It's
changes,
not true.
it fits perfectly. Wear that shoe, okay? The changes that we see are limited. That's all we've observed. We've observed.
It fits perfectly. You know, wear that thong and then send me pictures. I would like to see that.
Did you see?
Cows produced from.
Did you see the Big Bad Mama's video she posted today?
No, but I
What-
think I know what it's about. I am criminally behind on watching Big Bad Mama's videos.
Yeah, Ken's talking about girls in short skirts. It's
Yes, yeah,
pretty nauseating.
I saw the clip, and it's just it's just ridiculous. But when I saw that clip in Kent's original video, I immediately knew that Big Bad Mom was going to make a video on that. I knew right away. You know, I was like, this is perfect.
Yeah, if you want to get a little nauseous today, go watch that.
Yeah.
A cow. They're still cow. But you believe a cow and a strawberry are related, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Where's the evidence for that?
The evidence is, I've given you the evidence. We have comparative anatomy. It works within creationism, but you guys have an arbitrary cutoff and you say there's a limit there. What is the limit? We know
Where's
that the size, shape, location, orientation, and number of bones can change in populations. And it's not, we don't need to know that a fossil had a child. We know it's part of a population, and we know populations change. And we can predict those changes with evolution. That's science. That's how science works. That's why you're a liar.
You said a moment ago that the cow and the strawberry are related. What's the anatomy of a strawberry compared to a cow? How would they relate?
Well, you wouldn't compare a strawberry and a cow. You
This
compare
chart
strawberries to other plants.
Okay,
You compare those plants to earlier plants.
Here we got a ladybug and a worm.
Comparing them to earlier.
Okay, I'm going to jump in. Snake, if you could reiterate whatever question you want Kent to answer, reiterate it without any interrupting. Then we're going to give Kent as much time as he needs to basically answer it uninterrupted as well. And go ahead, Snake.
Well, he can't answer it because he doesn't know. I'm asking for a limitation on what comparative anatomy is. He tried to avoid taking responsibility for comparative anatomy, even though his entire worldview requires that thousands of species be related. So the whole point is, how do we study things that we haven't directly observed? Kent, have you observed your God creating?
No, that's why I admit mine's a religion, and you haven't observed evolution. You should admit yours
Pause
is a
for a
religion
second.
too, but you won't do it.
I was
Pause.
actually about to. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I did want to just say, you know, Donnie can be fair sometimes. So he gave me the mic.
Yeah,
there.
totally. Yeah, no, totally. Credit where credit is due. I think there's lots of examples where Donnie's been a good moderator. It's just that, you know, there's also examples where I feel like he shows his bias, you know, and I just wish he would do better, because he clearly has the potential to be good at it as a moderator, you know? And I feel like his heart is in the right place. It's just I feel like Kent is kind of almost breathing down his neck and sort of like, you know, I can see how he would be like sort of pressuring him to have that bias, if that makes sense. And I don't think that's fair to Donnie.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't want to say no to him.
Right. And I don't think that Kent should be putting him in that position, because I think it's taking advantage of the fact that they have a friendship or relationship in order for him to get some sort of advantage during his debates. And it's like, if Kent is this incredible debater, why would he need that? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to pause it because I just wanted to read a little bit from this articles. So it says, researchers have confirmed that a 68 million year old fossil in Montana came from a pregnant Tyrannosaurus Rex. This not only will make it easier for other scientists to sex different fossils, it gives us an insight into the evolution of birds. So scientists from NC State University and North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences have discovered a way to determine whether certain fossilized dinosaurs were pregnant at the time they died. The clue came from the changes in physiology displayed in modern birds. When a female bird is pregnant, it supplements its skeleton with something called medullary bone. Scientists believe that the bone is there to provide material for the eggshells. It's visually and chemically different from dense cortical bone. Bone found in a cracked T-Rex femur looked a great deal like medullary bone. But the scientists involved weren't going to declare the T-Rex pregnant just by eyeballing a femur. And Mary Schweitzer knew that bone diseases could cause regular bone to look like this MB, medullary bone. That's an abbreviation they use. Let's see. So there was some doubt that any of the chemical would be left in the fossil remains after millions of years. So let's see. The results showed no reaction with the cortical bone and a faint but definite reaction with the medullary bone, strong evidence that the T-Rex was pregnant. So there is a way to tell if fossils are pregnant in this example. And I'll give you the link to this, Nate.
Yeah. Well, you can't tell that fossil ever gave birth, even if it was pregnant.
Oh, shit.
But there's the double standard again. Is like, okay, we can't prove 100% that this is a pregnant dinosaur unless you have the baby inside it. But that's really good evidence. So they're like, you either have 100% or you have 0%.
Yeah.
They don't understand having, good confidence, and that's still being scientific.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a religion, it's a science.
Then show me a cow coming from a non-cow or producing a non-cow.
Cows
Show me
produce
any
different cows. We know populations change. Based on evolution, we can predict what the changes were in life's history in the fossils. That means it's science by definition.
You're not going to get this, but fossils, you cannot prove that fossil had any children.
It's part of a population. We don't need to prove they had children.
No, do you see do the herds of buffalo slowly produce something other than buffalo? Do the swarms of mosquitoes?
They slowly produce different buffalo.
Do the swarms of mosquitoes slowly become something non-mosquito? Because there's a population.
No, they're mosquitoes today.
Right, bingo. 339 recognized breeds of dogs, most of which would not survive in the world. Man has selected a particular trait that they like some that are especially dumb and they get a pug, like my wife's dog. Some want some that are big and they get the Great Dane.
Here comes the Gish Gallop.
That's what we observe. That's been seen. We do not observe a banana being related to a dog, a wolf, or a coyote.
And we don't observe God creating anything.
And I admit mine's a religion. Why don't you admit yours is a religion?
Okay, so great job here. So I don't have a critique, but I feel like what I would have liked to see you reply here is to say, when he says I admit mine's a religion, then ask, well, why is your ministry called Creation Science Evangelism then?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I should have said, then why do you say creationism is science?
Yeah, or that, you know what I mean? So because I asked Kent something like that in a Q&A of a debate, I tried to write the question, and I don't know if Big Bad Mom is in the chat, but they saw this and they saw that I tried to write the question in a way that was very like non-confrontational. I just wrote it as basically, so humans were not there to witness God creating the universe or creating Earth or life. By your definition, since we didn't observe that means it's not science. So then why will you be changing? Will you be taking the word science out of the name of your ministry, Creation Science Evangelism? And Kent got pissed, like he got mad.
Yeah,
because it's kind of like it hitting him where it hurts. It's personal to him.
Yeah, Ian Chen asked him something similar.
Yeah, and what Kent told me, he basically didn't address my question, but what he told me was that he hopes that the fact that he calls his ministry CSE, he hopes that I lose sleep over it and that it keeps me up at night. That's what he said.
It's funny because
What?
Actually, they're the ones losing sleep because we have the scientific consensus.
Yeah, and Kent literally says that Mark Reed caused him to stay up until 2 a.m. researching ERVs. So, like, he's the one losing sleep.
He still knows nothing about him.
Yeah. I don't know shit about ERVs, and I could admit that. But, like, Kent is the one who literally claims he's a top expert in the field. He said that.
His entire argument is just some of them have functions, therefore creation.
Yeah. Dogs produce dog. Thank you, A1 Chiefs fan, for joining my channel memberships. Thank you so much. And yes, Big Bad Mama knows what I'm talking about.
Do you think that we should teach science in schools?
Yes, I think we should exclude religion. Evolution should not be taught in public schools.
So if a particular theory is able to predict the natural world, is that scientific?
Well, if you want to, I'd be careful going down that slippery slope. I could say, well, the natural world could have been predicted. We could predict it must have been a designer because it's so complex. We could therefore get creation in. I predict, without even seeing who did it, somebody made this ink pen. I bet this has a designer. I don't know where, but I bet there is one. So
That's
I think if
not
you
a
look
prediction.
at a single cell,
You already know people make pens.
we already know everything complex has a designer. One
No, it
cell in your
doesn't.
body has a designer.
Prove it. You can't witness it. And you have no theory that can predict things about the natural world. So the theory would be everything has a designer. What can you discover from that theory? Nothing. The theory of evolution is we have common ancestry, and we've discovered fossils based on that, and we can track viral evolution based on that. We can cure diseases based on that. So it's a science.
Well, I don't know who taught you that, but you need to get your money back. Okay.
I don't know why Kent has this like misconception that if you don't like the education you received from a higher an institution of higher learning, that you can go to them and ask for a refund. That's not how it works. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I don't know if you got like a tuition or not, Snake, but like a lot of times like people don't even pay for their own college, so how are you going to get your money back? It's so stupid. It just shows he has no understanding of what it's actually like to go to a real university. I mean, I think that's just good evidence right there.
It's just a cheeky quip he can use when he
Yeah.
doesn't have anything to say.
Yeah, but and it's all I mean, that's really all he does. Like when Mark Reed asked him, are you an expert on evolution, which Kent has said that he is, and he said he's an expert on dinosaurs in the Bible and evolution, dinosaurs in the Bible. He said he's the top expert in the field. I need to find that clip, dude. Because I hate that clip so much. Like that clip makes my blood pressure rise. But he said that an X is a has-been and a spurt is a drip under pressure. So I don't want to be an expert.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard that before. I didn't understand what it meant until now.
So
Why
funny.
is he talking about? Why is he talking about spurts? Is he saying
It
something
sounds
perverted?
like cum.
Yeah, I was like, I wouldn't put it past them.
Semen, Hovind. Semen
Whale
has 5
penis.
letters. Hovind
Whale
has 5
penises.
letters. How much do you think a whale comes into the ocean?
It was designed that way.
It was designed to just come all over the fucking place. I mean,
It co-
I also love that Kent thinks that whales can't communicate with each other. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, I was just thinking about this the other day because Kent says, oh, whales have to mate in the water and they can't talk and say, scoot over, honey. Kent, you think whales don't communicate with each other? Are you serious? Do you not know about whale songs? They can communicate with each other from hundreds of miles away.
Mhm.
Like, I thought, isn't that common?
He's just fractally wrong. Like you could spend entire encyclopedias talking about how wrong he is.
Yeah, like I don't know if you've ever seen the episode of The Simpsons with Frank Grimes, where Frank Grimes comes to work at the nuclear plant and like just observes how Homer is just a fucking idiot. And Frank Grimes is talking to Lenny and Carl about how incompetent Kent is, and he's like, it boggles the mind. And Carl's like, it's best not to think about it. Like that's how I feel about the stuff Kent says. Like you'll just drive yourself crazy, like thinking about all the ways he says stuff that's wrong. Like, because it is frustrating, but you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
All we
put it
observe
in
is-
my
Well,
opening.
hey,
if
Taylor,
you-
I think there's been some healthy interruptions, which is fine. But let's now. So, Snake, you made your points. Kent will allow you to respond, and we'll try and go as uninterrupted as possible. Go ahead, Kent.
Well, I would say it for the 10,000.
Oh, I also, real quick, I just want to say that we have about 110 people watching the live chat. So thank you guys for hanging out with us and watching.
Smash that like button.
Yeah, for real. And go and subscribe to Snake's channel. If you guys aren't already, go over there. The link is pinned in the top of the side chat, and I'm gonna have the link in the pinned comment and I think the description too. So go over there, show his channel some love, and check out some of his videos because he's got some other debates over there. Because I sent my viewers over to Mark Reed's channel to subscribe yesterday, and what did I say? Like 70 people subscribed, something like that, 70 or 80 people. Like that's awesome to see. So thank you guys for doing that and showing love to the people who are friends of my channel, because you know
Yeah,
I want to help spread the love of the Kent hate.
Yeah.
and you know, raise up good content creators.
I'm almost monetized, so any
Any
watches or clicks you can give is going to be super helpful.
Awesome. Also, Hive Science, Bree, do the same thing with her also.
Yeah,
Awesome.
she's super
What we
close to
observe
1,000.
is
True that. Very, very close. So is Mark Reed. But yeah, it's I wanna we really haven't watched that much of the video. We're at 40 minutes, so I wanna try and get a little bit farther.
dogs produce dogs always. If you wish to believe dogs and broccoli are related, that's fine. You can believe whatever you want to believe. You can believe in the abominable snowman. And
Snake, can you put a link to your channel in the chat? Because I think my link is not working. If you can. Yeah. Okay.
You know, fairy tales, etc. But evolution is not science. It's not observed. What we see, 40 species of wolf, I would say it's logical to say they had a common ancestor called a wolf. But that's not logical to say keep going back and magnify those changes. And a wolf came from a protozoa, which came from a dot of nothing exploding. It's not science. It's a religious belief to believe that dogs and bananas are related. But you believe that. It's not science. It's probably logical, and I think it's reasonable to assume that all...
Pause. He just said a wolf came from a protozoa. He knows that's bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, he has to, you know, but he's just going to repeat himself because Hovind.
Yeah.
All the dogs and wolves and coyotes had a common ancestor. I couldn't prove that. I think we can see dogs produce dogs, and that can be observed. 19 subspecies of coyote probably had a common ancestor. But you want to take this evidence of variations within the coyotes, variations within the wolves, and you want me to pay to have all the students taught that proves coyotes are related to strawberries. That's stupid. Take it away.
Go ahead, Taylor.
Even though it actually creates and produces scientific discoveries, making it science by definition. I put it up here. This is the fundamental of science. Observe nature, seek rules and principles that explain or predict its operation. So if I can do that with any particular theory, I am doing science. You say that I just want it to be true. Meanwhile, you just want it to be not true for your book so you can push your religion in schools.
First, I'm not pushing my religion in schools, okay?
Liar.
You guys are pushing your religion in schools, okay?
Liar.
And put your definition up there. You can observe nature. Okay, let's observe. What does man observe for thousands of years? Cows make cows, dogs make dogs, pine...
These nuts, Kent. Let's observe these nuts.
Trees make baby pine trees. That we've observed. Let's seek rules to explain it.
No. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, that was the debate.
See, I told you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you got to say pause.
You're leaving something out.
No, I think, okay, observe rules and then seek rules or principles which explain or predict its operation.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't read this super chat. From A1 Chiefs fan again, for $5 says, all these debates you highlight help me when I'm confronted by my creation believing family. Thank you, AJ. Well, that is really good to hear. So I would love to think that if you are having people in your own family, which is just difficult on its own, you know what I mean, coming to you and making these type of arguments, I would love the idea that you can be armed with good responses by sort of watching some of this content. You know what I mean? Because the responses that people like Snake and Mark have to these arguments are really great, you know. And you know, I'm sorry to hear that you have to do that, because nobody wants to argue with their own family, and people really can be passionate about these things, and that's why I want people, if they're going to come and take arguments from these type of videos, it's good that they are going to be coming with stuff that's intellectually honest and is backed up by good science, you know what I mean, and not emotional appeals.
And I try to be compassionate to these people, at
Yeah.
least kind of the audience member types, because they literally believe that their eternal soul is at stake if
Yeah.
they start believing the science. So
Yeah.
it's just really sad.
It's really unfair, I think, to them that they're put in that position, you know.
Yeah.
You're leaving something out about what we observe.
I think we can predict that must be a genetic code that produces after its kind. Well, that's what the Bible says. Okay, let me read the whole thing.
Creationism did not predict that.
Because there's a little crosstalk, I can't fully hear both sides finishing their argument. So, Kent, if you want to finish your sentence there, then Taylor will throw it back to you.
I will read the scientific method. Put it back up there, Taylor. Okay, if you would. The scientific method, if I left something out, I apologize. Quote, the basic aim and method of inquiry identified here can be seen as a theme running through the next 2 millennia of reflection on the correct way to seek after knowledge. Carefully observe nature and then seek rules.
So he thought I was saying you left something out of the definition. I was saying you left something out of the observation and the fact that we can predict. So he just decided to read the entire quote instead of, engage.
He thought you were saying that Kent left something out of the quote?
Yeah.
That's what I thought too. So what were you saying?
He said observe nature, and then he said something like that dogs always produce dogs, and I was like, you left something out, which I was going to say that they're always different each generation.
Well, let me rewind it a little bit. And I'm going to mispronounce this, from Lorraine Drosophila for $2. Drosophila. Snake, I see you're doing another debate. Thank you, AJ. Yeah, Snake has done lots of debates. We've actually done a tag team debate with me and Snake versus Logical, Plausible, Probable, Popsicle, and Bubblegum Cum. That was a horrible debate. Oh my God.
Yeah, I have one on Modern Day Debate this Friday on evolution.
Oh, really?
With Dr. Thompson, Chris Thompson.
I don't think I am familiar with them.
He's a doctor of neuroscience.
They're a doctor.
Neurology.
Oh, wow. And he's like a Christian or creationist?
No, he's on my team. We're going against.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, we're going against Jamie, this guy I debated multicellularity on.
Jeez.
And I have a second debate with him next week.
Who's Jamie's partner?
A flat earther named Nathan, or his channel is Pitch Lumen. He's
Nathan
actually
Thompson?
Cool.
It's not Nathan Thompson? Okay, I know who you're talking about then. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good. All right. Okay, I'm going to hit play.
And put your definition up there. You can observe nature. Okay, let's observe. What has man observed for thousands of years? Cows make cows, dogs make dogs, pine trees make baby pine trees. That we've observed. Let's seek rules to explain it. No,
you're leaving something out.
No, I think, observe rules and then seek rules or principles which explain or predict its operation.
No, you're leaving something out about what we observe.
I think we can predict that must be a genetic code that produces after its kind. Well,
You
that's what
didn't
the
predict
Bible
that.
says. Okay,
Well,
let me read the whole thing.
Creationism did
Just wait,
not
guys.
predict that.
Because there's a little crosstalk, I can't fully hear both sides finishing their argument. So,
Okay.
Kent, if you want to finish your sentence there, then
Okay.
Taylor will throw it back to you.
I will read the scientific method. Put it back up there, Taylor. Okay, if you would. The scientific method, if I left something out, I apologize. Quote, the basic aim and method of inquiry identified here can be seen as a theme running through the next 2 millennia of reflection on the correct way to seek after knowledge. Carefully observe nature and then seek rules or principles which explain or predict its operation. End quote. Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, and the funny man sitting there. Okay, I read it all. Oh, I'm sorry, scientific method. What we observe is dogs produce dogs, cows produce cows, cats produce cats. There are variations, but they always are observable as the same kind. We observe
Okay,
that
what does
cows
that mean?
Well, we observe that cows and pine trees cannot crossbreed. There must be some kind of genetic code that prevents this. So anything beyond what we observe and study and test is not science.
Okay, so there are no foxes that are related then because they can't interbreed.
No foxes that are related?
Correct.
I think foxes have babies all the time.
Chromosomes and can't interbreed.
So all the foxes in the world are extinct? They can't breed?
The different species of foxes all have different chromosomes and can't interbreed.
Well, let's see. There are 34
That means-
chromosomes in the red fox. There are 34 chromosomes in the sunflower. Can the fox and the sunflower interbreed?
No. Why are you asking that? I'm
Well,
talking about
because-
foxes.
You got them on a family tree as the same kind. I mean, all have a common ancestor. Let me
Okay,
get to more stuff
you
on
said
fox.
you said they're the same kind if they can interbreed, but that's not true because foxes are the same kind.
We have quite a few foxes stuffed and mounted in our museum here. I think there are 37.
No one cares.
Right?
Um,
I care. Anybody
so
else care?
why-
Who cares?
I loved that so much. Like that
I hate
really
it
made me
when
laugh.
he's like, when he has nothing to say, he's like, well, we got a fossil of it. It's like,
Right?
so?
Like we got gravel was rounded all over the world. We got come to Dinosaur Adventureland. We got a big fucking gravel pit here. See our giant pile of rocks. Look at the dead bodies and maggots that are under the pile. There's lots of them. We have a cow that died. I poked it with a stick and his eye exploded. Come look at it. It smells. Like, Kent, nobody wants to come to your shitty like rock pit. Kent, stop. It was just so funny. The timing of that was perfect. But I think we've been going almost an hour, so we're gonna wrap the stream up soon. But yeah, let's watch a little bit more. What do you say?
Okay.
All right. To
Yeah,
people in the chat,
It
Oh,
would
go
be
ahead.
fun to get to the part where we start talking about multicellularity, because that's very embarrassing for Kent.
Okay. I will look up the timestamp to that real quick.
Okay.
Hey, I'm glad you're the only one that doesn't care. But we have a lot
I've
of. There are
been trying to
37
make a point.
I
for
don't
a
care.
Well, there are 37 different species, varieties of foxes. They might have had a
Uh-huh.
common ancestor. I don't know. But I know they didn't have an ancestor with a strawberry. That I know.
How do you know that?
Show me. That's not science. You can believe that. You believe it. I know.
How do you know where they stop being related? So you can say,
So I remember when I was watching the debate, I was thinking that question was so good when you said, how do you know that? And I was thinking, like, just stick with that simple question. And I feel like you sort of added on to it a little bit. And I was sort of like, oh, I wish you would have just like, maybe not just repeated that question and say, no, Ken, like, how do you know? Or like whatever the question was. But, you know, any like critiques I say, it's really just minor because this is a great performance. You know what I mean? It's mostly just like, it's not me saying you should have said this. It's more of just like you could have said this instead, or I would have like probably said this also, but it's impossible to address all of Kent's fallacies. And also you're never going to think of everything you could say during a debate. And, you know, there's always going to be stuff that you think of after rewatching it where you're like, oh, I could have said this. And then, you know, that's always going to happen, but you know.
Yeah, exactly. And he's a master of getting you off onto different things.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like when you debate Kent, you should like pretty much, if you know you did a good job, you should always feel like, I'm not going to tell myself, oh, I should have said this, I wish I would have said that. Like, no, you should be confident that I did a great job and I said exactly what I should have said. Like, yeah, there are probably other arguments I could have brought up, or there are other things that he lied about or fallacies he said that I could have addressed. But with debating Kent, like, you have to pick your battles, because you can't address every fallacy he says because you don't have enough time.
Exactly.
So, just be proud of the performance you did, and really, I know that I'm not like really criticizing, or if I am, it's constructive. But yeah, great job. Really, really great.
Well, thanks.
Foxes are related, coyotes are related, wolves are related, dogs are related. By the way, my chihuahua.
Thank you to the Chiefs fan for the $5 super chat. If there's anybody in the chat, I was going to say this before Snake interrupted me. If there's anybody in the chat that wants to send a super chat, you should do it now, because I'm going to be ending the stream. And to this person who asked, AJ, didn't you already brought up the massive difference between the chromosomes between two species of butterfly? I did a whole live stream about that. That's called the butterfly defect, which Hive Science was the one who thought of that title for me. So thank you. Did I miss any super chats? Yeah, if that's what you're referring to, yeah, I did a stream about that. Okay.
Survived on the streets for a long time, so your whole thing about them not being able to survive in nature is bupkis.
True.
So that's a funny word, isn't it? The point is, where do you stop making those comparisons? Because the further we can keep going back through the fossil record, and they're still similar. The fossil dogs are just as similar to wolves as modern dogs are.
Bingo.
And the fossil canids are just as similar to wolves as dogs are to wolves. So where do we stop making those comparisons?
Well, first place, I don't go around comparing them. I don't do that. But you got to.
What was the thing you said that was embarrassing that you mentioned? You wanted me to.
It's about multicellularity.
Okay.
We get up onto that topic. It's about
family tree with all the foxes and wolves.
I can find it. I can find it. I just needed to know that keyword.
Related to a strawberry. That is what's not science. Your family trees, I would agree. Maybe the fossils we find are very similar, maybe even identical to some dogs alive today, or wolves or coyotes. I think it'd be logical to say, this is a wolf we just found. We found the fossils of a wolf. But you see the fossil of a wolf or a fossil of a dog and say, see, that proves they all came from an amoeba.
Nope.
That's what's not science.
Nope. It's the fact that
So yeah, you're exactly right. I now I remember what you were talking about. Have I ever told you my trick for finding specific if you're looking for a specific thing in a video and like the keyword that someone said, like, and you just look up the transcript?
No, I need to learn how to do that.
So if I'm like trying to find a specific video of Kent's where I know he said this one thing, and I don't know exactly which video it is, but I have a rough like idea of, I know it was like within the past like week or 2 weeks of videos that he did. What I'll do is I can click on his recent videos. I'll click on one of the videos, and then you click on show transcript, and then I do a Control F and I search for that word, and it'll find it among the dialogue that's, the automatically made captions. And that is really useful if you haven't ever done that. I use that all the time to find specific videos. Yeah, it really works. So
yeah, because I'm like, you must watch like thousands of the hours of Kent's content to get these very specific clips.
Yeah, see, you're shut up. Just kidding. No, I that's the thing, is that I basically do watch the videos that Kent comes out with, but if I had to rewatch all the videos just to find specific clips, I do think I
Yeah.
would actually go crazy. So that is
Yeah.
really useful.
Nice.
Okay, so we're gonna start at 55. Well, this part is good. So we'll play this last part about multicellularity, and then we'll wrap the stream up because I'm getting tired and I need to take a nap.
And we find in the fossil record, making into science by definition.
Okay, 50.
He thinks it happened with this creature I'll call up right here. A single-celled creature is not simple, by the way. But this is the one he used last time and said I didn't have an answer for it. Well, I'm ready now. Here's the one he said. Yeah. You believe, I think you made it pretty clear, that you believe that, coming up right here, single-celled cooperated or became multicellular. Okay. Trichoplax is a few thousand cells, one of the simplest or smallest, least complex of the multicellular organisms. Trichoplex, okay? Let's see. But you believe, this is one you had right here, in the Plecozoa family.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I have a question for Donnie real quick. Are we going to have closing statements, and how much time do we have left?
Yes, we will have closing statements. Discussion portion, we've got a decent amount of time to cover all the topics. And so, of course, we'll have those closing statements to address anything that we feel might be left hanging, Taylor. So no worries.
And how much time do we have left?
For the discussion, I'd say about another 15 minutes.
Okay. All right. Sorry, Kent. I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
Well, this is the one you used last time, that you said this creature is a single-celled creature and becomes multicellular. And you are mistaken, okay? It clusters together to do for common defense in the presence of certain predators, but then it goes right back to single-cellular. There's a long article in Nature magazine, which I read carefully, about this experimental evolution of alternating uni and multicellular life cycle. It alternates back and forth from unicellular. It clusters together. Read the article carefully. It tells about their transition to multicellular. They think they use it as evidence because that's the best they've got. All you get are clusters, okay? Transition to multicellular was one of the few major events in life's history that created new opportunities. But it remains a challenge within evolutionary biology. During one of its life cycles, they naturally cluster up, then go back to single cells. The Nature article only claims it's a cluster and never claims it became a multicellular organism, because it did not. It became a cluster to fight off the predator they induced into the system. That's all it did. So, but see, if you could find one that's able to go from single cell to multicellular, which they haven't yet, that wouldn't prove it happened in the past in nature. That would prove the creature might have been designed to do that in the presence of a predator. So it's not evidence that it happened in nature. Your human body probably has 100 trillion cells, each one more complex than the space shuttle. To say that it happened by chance, I think, is silly. Dreaming. Didn't happen, but go ahead.
Okay, so why did you read the article and not the actual paper it's from? That would have clued you into what's actually going on here. So when they say alternating phases that alternate between uni and multicellular, you're dead wrong about your conclusions there. It does not go back and forth between uni and multicellular. It stays multicellular and has unicellular babies that grow up to be multicellular and stay multicellular forever. So the alternating part is that it has babies that are unicellular that become multicellular. So you need to go back and do your research better this time.
No, think about it. Humans are born already multicellular. You're saying this.
Humans are born already multicellular? Yeah. A mom will give birth to a baby that is multicellular, but we start off as a zygote, Kent. How fucking dishonest is that he just said? Seriously.
Mm-hmm. Nothing new.
That one actually made me mad. Also, I was confused here about why Kent starts off talking about a trichoplax and then his slides show chlamydomonas, which is not the same thing, right? Like,
it's just word salad.
It's like he doesn't even know what the fuck he's talking about. And even his supposed example, like,
he's just going, look at this complex cell.
Yeah.
It's so complex.
Yeah. even a trichoplax, they reproduce by binary fission, which is not switching back and forth from being single cell to multicellular, or by budding. And so that's just oh, okay. Oh, and from Eddie Dean for $10, it says, please consider a subject change on your next debate with Kent. Maybe evidence for the existence of God. Since there is none, it might develop questions in the mind of Kent's audience. While I definitely agree, Kent won't accept that as a topic.
Correct. Yeah, I've tried.
Yeah, he specifically says that he only wants to debate on evolution where the other person is defending evolution so he can try and poke holes in it. He absolutely does not want to defend his own worldview or his own claims. He will fight tooth and nail to not do that because he's a coward and because he has no good arguments.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely appreciate your sentiment, and thank you so much for the super chat. That's extremely generous. So thank you. And I definitely agree, but Kent wouldn't accept that, which is kind of odd because you would think somebody who's like so debate me bro like Kent is and is so gung ho about the Bible would be more than willing to defend it. And you know what I mean? Like, aren't you supposed to spread the good news and get us converted?
He knows he can't. He knows he's going to look like an idiot. Well,
yeah, but that's the weird thing though, is because Kent is so. Does he really? Because Kent is ridiculously overconfident. He's never cared about doing debates and looking like a moron. So that's what I kind of wondered about. Like, why is it that he won't defend that?
Well,
I think
clearly doesn't want to.
Yeah, I think he thinks that, oh, well, I'm so good at debating evolution and I destroy these guys. I would rather just do that. You know what I mean? I think that's what he thinks, because we know that Kent doesn't, like, he's delusional. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I don't know. He's like a mystery wrapped up in an enigma, like stuffed inside a condom,
Yep.
From Ken Rock for $1.99, it says, just push harder. I got him in a defensive stance. Well, you might want to be careful doing that. You could blow out your O-ring, your Hovind ring. But I did enjoy your debate, Ken Rock. So, all right.
What's up, Ken?
A little bit more.
Thing goes back to single cellular. It produces single cell babies that then cluster together to make another multicellular creature. Why don't they have a multicellular baby?
Because very few humans don't have multicellular babies. Do you see what's on my screen right now? It says, like most multicellular organisms, this species of algae, seen reinhardtii, possesses a life history that alternates between uni and multicellular stages. Like most multicellular organisms, most extant multicellular organisms, including us. So if you read the actual paper, you would have known that instead of reading an article about it.
So is this algae evidence that it happened long ago and far away in nature? I mean, this is happening today.
It's certainly evidence.
What?
Yes, it is evidence. Yes, because, okay, what do we need to do for a thing that we haven't directly observed? We can collect evidence that we don't need to have a actual video of it happening. We can still have evidence that it happened. So the fact that it's possible in organisms, that's great evidence.
So therefore, it should be taught to all the students as scientifically proven.
Okay, so from Sebastian Hart, it says, I will never get over Kuntz and SFT's dishonesty. No real scientist will waste their time on Kent. So before I have to end the stream because I am getting tired and cranky, but before I do, I have to show this one clip from another Kent video. So real quick, I'm just going to switch my screen share. Okay.
You find lots of people smarter than you, tell them I'll debate them too. All of them. All of them. I'm not afraid of any of you. Come on, bring it on. Okay.
With the experts who say that evolution definitely is part of science.
Okay, I'm the expert, Dr. Kent, the science gent. I say it's not. There you go. Case closed.
And there you have it. I mean, there you have it.
Case closed, guys.
evolution. Go home, guys. Pack up your lab gear and your lab coats. Go home. Science is canceled. Kent told us it's not actually true. So, close down the vaccine production and cancel the vaccines that are going to be sent to Africa and over to Crimea. What is the country Russia invaded?
Ukraine.
To the Ukraine. Cancel all the aid to Ukraine from the medical science, and cancel all the crops that have been grown using evolution. We're going to burn down all those crops because evolution apparently isn't true, and also get rid of all of the livestock that has been bred using artificial selection, because Kent Hovind, sitting in backwoods Alabama in a Hawaiian shirt and a hat where the spacing on the word action is wrong, said that it's not true. Cancel the fucking vaccines. Snake, cancel them, okay?
The science gent has spoken. End of story, okay?
I just want to play that one more time.
Academy of Sciences, along with numerous other scientists and science organizations and scientifically competent Christians, versus your uneducated.
The fact that a lot of people, do you know anything about history of science? This is how new ideas come in all the time. Well, evolution is not part.
I think I'm going to have to side.
I'm going to try to fight it till I die, okay? But it's not science. Evolution is not part of science. It's a religion.
Anti-intellectual bias. I think I'm going to have to side.
I don't have an anti-intellectual.
Dang it! I lost my place. Okay.
When you find lots of people smarter than you, tell them I'll debate them too. All of them. All of them. I'm not afraid of any of you. Come on, bring it on. Okay.
With the experts who say that evolution definitely is part of science.
Okay, I'm the expert, Dr. Kent, the science gent. I say it's not.
Who say that
I'm the expert, Dr. Kent, the science jet. I say it's not.
And what a gentleman he is.
Well, Snake, thank you so much for coming on my live stream and sharing this burden with me. Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun, and good job on your debate.
Thank you for having me. I feel my soul feels lighter already.
Yeah. Thank you to all the people who sent super chats, and there's 130 people in the live chat. Thank you guys so much for watching. I guess YouTube is doing this really dumb thing where they have the links to channels now. It'll say @ and then the name of the channel, and the links break when you try to post them somewhere where it cuts off part of the link. So I'm gonna try and make sure that the links to your channel work on my page, on the video page, after I end the stream. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video, and like the video, and hope you enjoyed. And yeah, see you later. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Okay, one more from the Chiefs fan for $10. Kent's ego and smugness annoys me the most. How can someone so willingly ignorant be so condescending? I don't know. Ponder that.